it's kind of scary, that you
Yeah.
have that happening nowadays where people are saying, oh, we want one world currency, we want one world government, we want all of these things that only a small amount of people would have control over. And so, I mean, this movie couldn't have come at a better time.
So, Braeden, you're a Christian, you're a conservative, you're in the world of Hollywood. It's kind of an oxymoron. So, tell us a little bit just about who you are and your role in the new Left Behind movie.
All right. So, introduction to me, I guess. I was pulled out of public schools at the beginning or end of my first semester in second grade because my mom noticed that there was a trend going on where the teacher would assign work and I would say I did it and it was good enough to pass. And so she never was informed about this until she actually asked. And so she started doing my book reports with me, realized that she was homeschooling and pulled me out, and growing up, like you said, as an actor's son, I spent a lot of time on movie sets exploring, meeting the cast, the crew, just falling in love with all of it. And at 11 years old, I went to my dad. I said, Dad, I'm going to be an actor. And he said, please don't. I'm begging you. And so he knows how terrible it is now. And he knew how terrible it was back then. And so he tried to stop me. And I bothered him for about a year and a half before he finally put me in acting classes. And I got my first big break when I was in the movie Let There Be Light, another L movie, Let There Be Light, which
Yep.
was funded by Sean Hannity. It was great. I turned 15 on set, actually, and so I graduated from my homeschool kind of curriculum 3 years after that, and I've been trying to pursue acting ever since. I've been doing a little bit here and there, kind of in the realm of politics, like you said, a little
Mhm.
oxymoronic to be in Hollywood and be conservative at the same time. But I'm finding a balance, and so I was blessed to work last November, in the next Left Behind series. I mean, I read the books growing up as a kid, and so to be able to film and partake in this movie was just an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, tell us a little bit. I know just from speaking with your mom and your dad, just how important it was for you guys to capture the current world that we're living in right now in the movie. And so tell us a little bit about what that experience was like for you. I mean, did it feel like you were kind of taking a part of this world into sort of your acting in that movie?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, the tagline for the movie is a true story that hasn't happened yet.
I love it.
It's so kind of prophetic into what's happening nowadays, where we have, GWN, which is Global World News, in the movie. I play Connor Smith. I'm the head kind of cameraman technician guy for Buck Williams, the main reporter in the movie and the series.
Mhm.
And so we really get kind of a deep dive into what the world would look like if everything was run by a specific group of people. And it's kind of scary, that you
Yeah.
have that happening nowadays where people are saying, oh, we want one world currency, we want one world government, we want all of these things that only a small amount of people would have control over. And so, I mean, this movie couldn't have come at a better time.
Tell us a little bit. You're 21 years old, so you're kind of in that group of people, and I am too, that they're falling away from the church. They want nothing to do with God. They want nothing to do with biblical values or conservative thoughts. Being in this role, I don't know if it kind of brought the rapture a little bit more close to mind, but tell us about how you feel, that important message for that age group to hear in the movie.
Yeah, so what I've noticed is that there is a lot of people leaving the so-called church just because the church is spewing kind of a progressive worldview. So we're trying to go and we're leaving those churches and trying to find the ones that are staying true to the biblical morals that we subscribe to. And so this movie really, I mean, there's a pastor in the movie who was left behind in the rapture, and so he has a, without spoiling anything, has a side story as to why he was left behind being the pastor of a church, and so it really kind of shows how much people are essentially falling away from religion and the dangers that can happen when that occurs.
Tell us a little bit about some of your favorite scenes in the movie.
Oh man, so my favorite scene required 8 different cameras to be set up, from every different angle. It was the very last day of filming to be set up from every different angle. And when this scene happens in the movie, people are going to realize this is the one that I'm talking about. But there was a moment where Buck the played by Greg Perot, who's awesome. He's a big guy like me. I mean, we're both 6'3". He's 250 pounds. At the time I was 245, 40, give or take. And
Hmm.
so we're both big dudes, and so he said, "Look, I'm going to run this way, and when you pull me, I want you to yank me." And so when we shot that scene, we had one take to get it right. I yanked him as hard as I could. I ended up ripping the zipper off of his coat, and we took off running. There are all these different camera angles happening. That was my favorite scene without giving it away. Obviously, people want to go see the movie. I can't
Yeah.
just spoil it for them, but that was hands down my favorite scene, and they'll know exactly what I'm talking about when they see it in theaters.
Mm. So it comes out January 26th, so it's right around the corner.
Just a couple days,
Um,
and so
no, go ahead.
okay, so it comes out January 26th, which is a Thursday, and it's a Fathom
Mhm.
event. They do kind of weekend releases. I mean, the pandemic and the shutdown really killed the independent movie business. A lot
Right.
of theaters and a lot of production companies are afraid to invest money in these smaller films just because they're afraid of what return they might see. Whereas you could take a movie like the Thor that has $100 million for prints and advertising, and
Right.
they can make all their money back. They know because they have YouTube, they have Google, they have Facebook, they have Twitter, they have every single possible platform to promote their movie. The indie movies don't have the funds to do that. So it really comes
Mhm.
down to, do we have enough word of mouth? Because that's the only thing
Yeah.
that can, make these movies a success. Like I have a group of friends, we're all going to go see it Sunday, January 29th, and I'm essentially putting together a don't get left behind party, come to the movies with us group. And so we have a big group of people filling out the theaters, families, friends, everyone in between. And so it just comes down to, are you willing to invite your congregation? Are you willing to invite your friends, your
Mhm.
family, and try to support these movies? Because without people supporting these movies, they can't be made.
Right. Before we finish here, I just want to hear a little bit of your heart. Maybe you could give a word of encouragement for younger people who are growing up in this generation. They've seen been exposed to everything from Hollywood, and they're a little bit more shy about sharing their faith or being passionate about things that aren't exactly cool. What would you say to them?
That's a hard one because I was definitely one of those kids a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that every single person struggles with. I mean, you have every social media platform imaginable promoting promiscuity. You have every Hollywood
Mm-hmm.
movie promoting promiscuity. So you see these things happening in your day-to-day streaming, and your brain internalizes and normalizes it. And so the best thing that someone can do is to kind of to fix their mental state and to be able to be more confident in terms of speaking out, is
Yeah.
to remove themselves from the social media aspect of life as much as they can, because that has a direct correlation to how bold they are when it comes to promoting their values. I've noticed that a lot of people who don't care about their social media following, don't care about what their followers think of them, post whatever they like. Whereas if you are
Mm-hmm.
nervous and if you are scared of the response, you're a lot more timid in what you post. So the best thing you can do is distance yourself from social media, and you will become bolder, and you will get the strength that you need to promote a good Christian worldview.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think it's super important for people to be able to grow that foundation on their own outside of all of these influences in our life. How can people stay connected with you?
People can stay connected with me by going to any of my social medias. They're
Mhm.
all under my name, Braeden. I don't know why my parents had to be special, but here we are. So I unfortunately have TikTok, although I don't post on it very much. So people can
Mhm.
connect with me better on Instagram or Twitter, and they can also find me on sorbostudios.com, which is our family's website, where I have a book that's published, and you can connect with me directly through there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time and joining us here on Charisma News. Before we go, is there any final thoughts? Anything else you want people to know about the movie before they go ahead and see it?
No, I can't spoil anything else. They just need to go see it, and then they need to get people to go with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below and stay tuned for more.